so I've got enough of the shop front set out now to be able to model in some of the other details surrounding them, and so I'm going to focus on the cornices, which you can see here on the division between the ground floor and the first floor, and then also at the top there between the first floor and the parapet. And I'm going to use the same profile for both of them, even though they probably are slightly different. They're close enough. So I've just saved a file into your CAD4 folder, and I'm going to load it in from there. So first I'll show you the way that a lot of the Revit developers will say you should do things like this, and that's to use the wall sweep tool. So I just want you to know about this tool. It's handy sometimes. I think, honestly, the way that they've set it up in Revit, it's never going to work for more complex things, or it's going to create more work than is necessary, and so I'll show you why. If you use wall sweep, now I'm just going to go back to the original Cornice. You'll why is it doing this? So I've got a Cornice there. I'll just try that again. It's playing up on me today. So I just want to go back to my original Cornice. There we are. Let's try that again. It doesn't want to let me. So don't worry about this. I'm just going to put in a Cornice somewhere, and then I'll delete it, and I'll start again. So again, I just want to show you the wall sweep tool, the way it will start. When you go to use it the first time, it'll look like this. It'll have wall sweep. It'll come up with the default Cornice. So I'll just put one in, and then show you here. I've gone to pick a wall, and it's actually chosen it for me, but it's put the Cornice somewhere else. And this is why I don't really like this tool that much. So there, it's put it in, and I'll go and do another one now to try and extend that by choosing this other wall. And it's a bit like a few of the other tools in Revit. I don't think that the developers really know how designers work, and they've never really made this tool all that functional. So it's got these two cornices there, but they're separate. I can drag the ends, but they're still not going to join very well unless I play around. So you can see there, that's joining, but they're two separate cornices. So I'll delete those, and I'll do it another way. I'll go back to wall sweep, and so this time I'll choose the wall again. Let's go. It's still difficult, but eventually you can get it. So another way of extending that would be to select the cornice, and then go to add walls, add remove walls, and then I can choose some other walls, and it will continue extending that. But you can see, again, I've got some problems now. It's to do with the way they join. So firstly, this cornice going along that long wall there, the problem is that it's extending into the interior. That's terrible. We don't want that. So I'm going to drag this grip there to make it finish at the corner here. Well, that works. And then I can drag this corner here across to the left, and that also works pretty well. Now, though, I wanted to have maybe a cornice in this part here that got left out. So if I go back to wall sweep again, and I can choose this wall, but it's got you probably missed the error there, so I'll just do that again. So it's got this this cornice now at the back, but I have to drag the front of that to the back, and then I can try changing the height to match what the other one is. That's not even the same. It was measuring from another point. But you can see eventually I would be able to have cornices wrapping around the whole building that way. But even that has its problems, because if I try to then put a cornice on the inside of any of these walls, again using that wall sweep tool, it's not going to work very well. So you can see there it's creating problems because it's already got a cornice on the outside. There we go, I've got one on the inside. Eventually it has worked, but then it's put a gap in. I have to go and manually drag that, and just creates a lot of work really, which you shouldn't need to do. So instead of using the wall sweep tool, you'll often find it's easier to model things like cornices. Right, but just wanted to make sure you know about that tool, because especially if you're looking for work in a firm using Revit, they'd expect you to know those tools, particularly wall sweep and then wall reveal is another one that's useful, and they both work in a similar way using profiles. But you should know that you can always model those things directly using model in place. That's what I'm going to focus on. So with model in place, I'm going to change the category to walls. And OK. And I'll call this exterior cornice. Caps lock. Okay, so now I'm going to use the sweep tool. So using sweep, I can then use firstly the set option, and I'm going to change the I'll cancel that. So I'll go to sketch path first, and then I'll choose set, and I'm going to change the plane there to level 1. And then with pick lines, I'm simply going to pick the outside of these walls, and I might just check if it goes. Yeah, it goes around that building too. So I'll just choose again the face of this wall, and then the face of all the other walls that I want it joined to. And notice how it's projecting onto the plane that I've picked. That's why it knows to put these lines automatically at that height. This is one of the best things about Revit, actually, the fact that it automatically projects. It's done this from day one. So it projects onto your work plane, which is a really, really useful feature. So I'm not going to go overboard here. I'm just going to do what I need for the front, and I can extend it later. Okay, so that's done. Tick to finish. And now I want to use a profile. So I'm going to go to load profile, and I'll show you where I've copied it. It's on the P drive, and then edu DC interior design, CAD4, Mudgee library, and there it is, traditional Cornice exterior. So it's not coming up properly, so I'm just going to check that by clicking select profile, and then I'd already loaded it previously, so just to make sure it's working, I'm going to go to the list there and make sure it's chosen. So there we are. So tick to finish, and you can see that it's made it, but it's facing the wrong way, and that's because of the way I drew the profile, but also the way I drew the sweep. Not a problem. I'm just going to go back to edit sweep, and then click on select profile, and then go to flip. So if I zoom in there and show you that profile, it's sitting, you can see there on the outside of the building now. Okay. So I'll finish this again, and you can see now that's wrapping the right way. Right, so then I'll come back and adjust the height. So this is a bit higher than the, well, in reality I'd say that actually is where the first floor is, but I think your first floor level height is wrong, to be honest. So I might finish the model there, and rather than move that cornice up, I'm going to go and check the level now. So I think that needs to come up a little bit. So in the section view, yeah, I think 4200 is just too low. And I had a feeling about that because the ceiling of that level seems really high as well. Right, 5 metres. So I might just select that level and lift it up. So I'll make it 4400. And you can see that because I drew the sweep on that plane, it's automatically brought it up. And there we go. Okay, so now I can do the same thing for the upper level cornice. And so this should essentially be in line with the ceiling of that level. So I'm going to make a level for that. So it'll be about here. And so I'm not going to use the level tool for this. I'm going to copy one of the existing levels. So I'm just going to select that level and then copy. And bring it up. It's about 4,400 again. So that looks about right. And so then I could either repeat that process or simply copy but I'll show you a good way of copying it. Instead of copying it in the 3D view, also in this view, in any view, I'm going to use copy to clipboard and then paste a line to same place. Then I'll go to edit in place, select the sweep, go to edit sweep, go to sketch path, choose set, and change the plane to my new level, which I've forgotten the name of already, but it was, sorry, I'll cancel that actually. I forgot to change my level name. Okay, so this here, 03 level 2, should be what is it really, 05. Level 1 ceiling. And so this is really 06 now. And it's actually the parapet really as well, that level, so I'll give it that name. Change the scale to 1 to 50 so it's easier to read. And so again, I've got a clear name for that level, which is the important thing. So back to my exterior, and then again, I can select my sweep now, edit in place, select the solid, edit sweep, go to sketch path, set, and now I can choose my ceiling level, click OK, oops, tick to finish again, and I've got the new cornice at that level, so I can finish the model. And there we are. Now this roof will need to come back behind the parapet before long, so I'm going to go back to change that afterwards, so don't worry about that. So okay, so then you can see that you've got the projection here on the lower level, which can be added afterwards, especially once the columns are in, so that would be done later. But that will simply project that cornice. To model in the parts underneath, the brackets, I suppose they are. There's a name for those, I've just forgotten it. You can just model a family and then use an array tool for that. But then to do most of these other elements, you'll need to make or use a column family, an architectural column, and I'll give you that as well. So lots of good little details to do there, but you can see already starting to get the basic form of the building there.